So I don't normally post on social media, but I really needed to get something off my chest. For those of you that don't know, I have autism, and for so many years, I'm 20 years old now, and for so many years, I have been told that I do not matter, or I've been told that you don't look autistic, or that you look fine, so you must be normal. And I hate it. I absolutely hate the fact just because I can talk, I'm told that I'm normal, or that you can do, are capable of everything that everybody else is, and I hate it. I absolutely hate that people treat me like I'm normal, and I know that some people would think, well, don't you want to be treated like you're normal? Well, the thing is that if people treat me like I'm normal, that's minusing that I have needs. And all I ever wanted was to be treated like I matter, and in 8 months, I've already had 10 suicide attempts from March of last year to November of last year. And all I've ever wanted was to be happy. And I thought that being dead would make me happy because that's pretty much what I've been taught. And I just can't take it anymore. And I just really wanted to get it off my chest because I've always been rambling to myself when I'm out walking. I walk a lot, and I've just always been rambling to myself. So I just really wanted to make a video, which I don't normally do. And my brother just earlier today said that, why don't you start a YouTube channel if you're so passionate about it? And I didn't think I was good enough because honestly, I was always told that, because I was always said how I had dreams of being an influencer and all, and teaching people about autism and educating, but all I've ever been told by everyone except for my mother is, that you shouldn't get your hopes up. You shouldn't think that you can do something when you're not capable of doing it. And even my neighbors tell me that. My neighbors are like my family to me, and I always think that they do care about me, but the problem is that they just don't understand me, and they treat me like a normal person, but what they don't realize is that I'm a lot more sensitive than most people, and that all I've ever wanted was to be treated like I matter. And, I don't feel like I matter because they're treating me like I'm a normal person, which I've been told my whole life that I'm not. And by kids who are just mean, and a lot of people don't notice, but people with autism are the most common targets of bullying. And I just recently found out that the average life expectancy for somebody with autism is 36 years old. And that is because they commit suicide a lot because of bullying and because of just people constantly eating away at them. Most commonly, the average life expectancy for people with autism is 36 because of suicide and because people are just mean and just don't understand, and people are afraid of what's different, and it's not fair. It's not fair that I have to feel like my feelings don't matter. I hate feeling like the only person that truly cares about me is my mom. And I hate it. I just want to feel like I belong, like people care about me, like people understand me. And I feel like the only person that really understands me is me, and I hate it. Because even when I first meet people, I'll immediately tell them everything there is to know about my condition just to avoid them, if I had an outburst. Just to avoid them, avoiding me because of my outbursts, because they don't understand. And I hate it because even when I do tell people if I have an outburst, they immediately just avoid me and act like I don't exist. And I hate it. I hate feeling like that because I may act a bit different or because I have a meltdown, that makes me a terrible person. And I hate it. I just hate feeling like my existence doesn't matter. I just want to feel like I matter, and I know that there are so many other people out there that feel the same way, and, I feel like there's no hope for me left because that's all I've ever felt for the last 5 years. For the last 5 years, I've been suicidal, and and just in November of last year, I got really close, and I had to go to the hospital for 3 days, and I got absolutely nothing from that hospital. That hospital, really what it is solitary confinement. And the worst part about it is I live in Canada, and yes, we get free healthcare, but what people don't realize is that's not all it's cut out to be, because for free healthcare, yes, our medical stuff and our physical pain is taken care of, but they do absolutely nothing about our mental pain. And all I've ever wanted was to feel like I matter, and there was only really one nurse in that hospital that actually would talk to me and treat me like a person, but that was only when I was trying to harm myself would she ever come and check on me. None of the other nurses cared. I was basically in this room all by myself for 24 hours a day, except for right in the morning and right at night time. That's the only time they came and checked on me, was right before bed and right when I woke up. And I hate it. And the fact the doctors don't even work on the weekends. They don't even have, the mental health doctors work on the weekends. They get paid more to work less. And that's what I hate. It doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel fair that people like me and people that are going through a mental health crisis are treated like they're just an inconvenience. And there was even the story my mom told me the same time I was at the hospital while she was in the waiting room. Somebody else was having a meltdown and begging the hospital staff for help. He was screaming. He was begging them for help, saying that he wanted to die so bad and he wanted help. But what they did is they kicked him out and they locked him out. They locked him out of the hospital because he was screaming that he wanted to die. And that's not fair to that man. That man probably isn't even alive now because of them. And it's not fair. And it's just not fair that people have to be treated like this just because they may not think the way that other people do. And it's not fair. There was even this story, I've heard of many stories of bad experiences with people with autism and cops. Now, basically me, I've had pretty good encounters with cops, but apparently, so I heard, is that other than, people of different races, the most common people to be stopped by police are people with autism, because their behavior patterns are different, so they're most common to be mistaken for being on drugs. And I hate it. There was this one kid that was 14. He was literally just playing with a string in his front yard. He was just playing with a string in his front yard, and a police officer tackled him and forced him to do a drug test simply because he had the audacity to just play with a string in his front yard. And it's not fair. Apparently, playing with a string means that you're on drugs. It's not fair. It's not fair that people like me and just people in general are treated like garbage just because they're a little bit different. And the thing is that, yes, physical disabilities, yes, people have lots of help, and I'm not, minusing the pain of people with physical disabilities, but what they don't realize is people with mental and developmental disabilities are just thrown away because you can't see their disability. I hate people with invisible disabilities being treated like their pain doesn't matter because you can't see it. Just because you can't see their pain, it doesn't matter, and I hate it. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. Nobody should be treated like that, no matter what. I don't care who you are, you shouldn't be treated like that. Nobody should be just thrown away because they obviously don't have a disability because you can't see it. That's just not fair. And I hate being treated like I don't have any problems. And I try to talk to everyone. I talk to everyone I possibly can to tell them how I'm feeling. And the response I most commonly get, well, you look happy to me. I hate it. I hate just because you can't see my pain. Makes you think that I'm obviously not in pain because I don't look like I'm in pain. And I hate it. It's just not fair. And I normally never make videos because I always felt like nobody's ever gonna watch my videos. So, nobody ever would really care about what I'm feeling. But I'm just sick and tired of it, and I know probably nobody's ever gonna watch this. But to be perfectly honest, I just needed to get it off my chest, and I don't even know if I'm gonna post this or not. But I just really needed to get it off my chest because I can't keep it in anymore. Otherwise, it will slowly kill me, and it already has began to slowly start killing me, and I hate it. It's just not fair. It's just not fair that because you can't see my disability makes you think I don't have one. It's just not fair. Anyways, I only wanted to make this video just to get it off my chest. I don't even know if I'm even gonna end up posting it, but I might post it tomorrow. I don't know. Right now, I don't have a job. I'm not in school. I actually barely attended high school because of the way I was treated. And because all the other kids in my school, you could actually see their disability. They were lower functioning than I was. And because of that, I was basically thrown away when I would raise my hand because I needed help and I was stuck on a question. And I'm the type of person, if I don't have an answer for a question, I can't just skip it and go on to the next question. I have to sit there and finish that question. It's just something that I do. It's OCD, I guess you could say. But I basically would get so frustrated, but I would raise my hand for like 10-15 minutes and I could see teachers looking at me. Like, there are 5 teachers in my class, 10 students. Like, at least one teacher should be able to help me. And the problem is that I fear somebody raising their hand before me, because if somebody asked for help before me, they would go to that person first. Just because I'm higher functioning than everyone else means that they need help more than I do. And it's not fair that just because you can't see that I'm different doesn't mean that I need help too and that I matter. And I always feel like I don't matter just because I'm higher functioning than those other kids, and it's not fair. And I'm not saying that those other kids don't matter, they do. But I've been trying to kill myself for 5 years because of the way I've been treated, because I've been treated like my needs don't matter just because I can talk and those other kids can't. And it's not fair. It's not fair. And even when I was in elementary school, I would raise my hand for 10 minutes. They would come to me last. If somebody raised their hand before me, they would go to that person first. And it's just, and then eventually I'd get frustrated, rip up the paper, throw it on the ground, and they would lock me in a room for 3 hours. And I'm not lying. That is not an exaggeration. It would literally be like 3 hours. Sometimes even longer. And it got to a point where they thought it was my fault, so they ended up putting me in a private classroom where I was basically by myself for 4 hours straight. No help. They would only come, check on me every, 30 minutes or so, and it wasn't fair. And what's even worse is they tried to use me as an example for another kid that was having issues, that was high functioning, and he was having issues. And they tried to use me as an example for him, saying that he would end up like me if he kept it up. And that's not fair. It's not fair that me and anyone should be treated like that. It's not fair. And all I ever wanted was to be treated like I matter. It's just not fair that some people can just be so cruel and just think they know everything, that they will treat people like this, and people are dying because of this, and it's not fair. It's just not fair. And there was this other story of, I don't know if you heard of this, it was a pretty big story, but there was this kid who was nonverbal. He was playing with a toy truck, and he basically had run away from, like, an assisted living facility, I believe. And his caretaker was sitting there laying on his back with his hands in the air saying, "It's not a gun, it's a truck," telling the police that over and over and over again. The police officer still shot him. Shot him because this boy, she shot the caretaker because the boy wouldn't drop the toy truck, which she thought was a gun, despite the caretaker constantly telling her it's not a gun, it's a truck, and he can't speak, he doesn't understand, and they didn't care. And that's not fair that other people have to suffer just because you don't understand people like us. And it's not fair. It's not fair that you're treated like trash just because you're a little bit different than everyone else. And it's not fair. And people can learn a lot from people with autism, because people with autism, they're not different. They're unique. They're unique. They just think a little bit different. And people with autism can also teach a lot of people stuff. And I try to educate people on autism. And it's always been my dream to educate people on this, because all I've ever wanted was more understanding of people like me. And I hate it. Absolutely hate that people think that just because you look normal and you can talk and you can walk, that you're normal. It's not fair. Anyways, I should probably end it now because this video is already really long. But, I don't think I wanted to say anything else, to be honest. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this, to be honest, because, like I said, I don't think anyone would really care enough to watch it. But, yeah.